A big thank you to all of you who like, comment, subscribe and share my videos, or through other means support this channel. You are what makes this channel grow and become a resource for other people to learn from. Enough about how awesome you are, back to the video. It is the first Tuesday of the month, which means we have a new rotation of free assets on the Epic Marketplace. This month we have the low poly Viking world, the Sikka Mansion, blink and dash visual effects pack, advanced photo mode and creating a portal to another reality. So again, like always, to get a hold of these, all you have to do is go to the free tab here on the Epic Marketplace and free for the month, and you'll find these to download. Let's check them out. First out, we have the creating portal to another reality. Now, this is a blueprint asset, which if we play, you can see here we have this sort of white tinted world with the white bushes, and if you can see here, you go behind the portal here, you can see the bushes, but when you look there through the portal, the bushes are no longer there. You can also see that there's a cube on the other side there, which is not here. And we can also walk through the portal and then we'll be in this other world, which we can instead look and see that the white bushes are gone and they are in another world. So you have this seamless transition between worlds, which is pretty cool. Looks pretty nice and everything like that. And it's not perfect, but it's pretty great regardless. If you look, for example, you can see here that the bushes over here, you can see that we see the bushes over here, but when they transition behind the pole of the portal, they disappear, so they're not viewed there. But regardless of that, we can still see that their shadows are being shown on the right side where it's green, where they shouldn't be. And the reason for this also is the same for this cube over here. You can see that the shadows are on the right side in the white world, but the cube itself is in the green world. And the reason for this is that the cube itself is being visually blocked out, essentially, so it's not being shown if it's not inside of the portal world, and that's where the shadows are coming from. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty great regardless, I would say, and it's a pretty cool effect. And how this works is, if you look at these objects, the magic is created through the use of, well, keeping track of them at least is being done through the use of tags. So if we search for tag, you can see here that this specific cube here has the portal 1 tag here. And if we play again, this means that it exists in this world. We can also go in here and grab this object over here, and we can actually drag it out and have it so it actually exists in this world now, so it's part of this world. So if we go in here, and you can see that it disappears from this angle instead. So it's a clever use of some material, visual and collision functions also. I didn't show that actually. If you go through the world here, you can see we have collision on the box, but if we go through here, there's no collision. We can shoot balls also, and they don't actually hit the box. It's all done in a pretty cool and smart way inside of this BP portal blueprint. You can see that it's actually pretty big, all the different parts of it, how it's keeping track of which actors belong to which world and which portals are active and such things. So you have the ability to expand upon this further if you want to. I think it's set up for 3 different portals to begin with, but you can add multiples if you want in addition to that as well. So yeah, overall it's a pretty cool system. So the tags is what's making it keep track of the different objects in the world. So there's a little bit of, I guess, nitty-gritty work when it comes to like setting up the worlds, making sure that each and individual static mesh actually have the tags that you want to have on them and such things. But that should probably be possible to streamline a little bit with what's it called? The asset action bulk edit property matrix, I think. I'm not entirely sure about that, but probably. Anyway, so that's the portal to another reality pack. Next up, you have the blink and dash visual effects pack. And in this pack, you can see here we have 4 different effects on the left hand side. These are the blink effects, essentially making a puff of effect while your character disappears and appears somewhere else. And then you have the dash effects, which are 6 different ones over here on the right, examples of those, which are using a start and an end for the 2 different positions that you're dashing from and to, essentially. These are mesh-based, meaning that they are consisting of a geometric form that some material is passing through to give this sort of effect along the lines of this specific mesh. So that's how this effect is being created. So there's a good variation of the different styles or I guess themes of these different dashes. So this is a pretty nice visual effects pack in my opinion. Next up we have the low poly Viking world pack. Now this is a pretty massive pack actually. It has a lot of different models in it. So what you can see here is, let's actually go into simulate mode so you can sort of get a proper feel of what it sort of looks like. So you can see we have different ships in the harbor over here. We have a bunch of different sails and small stands with different carts and hay balms, and yeah, lots of buildings here. You have all kinds of small little details everywhere here. And moving around you can see that we also walk into something that seems like small village parts where there are wells, and there's also foliage and trees and everything like that. And there are larger structures. You can see something that reminisces a church over there as well. So you can see that there's a great variety of different houses and such here. And let's actually speed up the mouse a little bit. There we go. You can see here, which this might be like the chieftain's house or something like that. So you can see there's a lot of different buildings and parts to this pack overall, so you can build something pretty massive and varied from it. The one thing it doesn't have is characters that exist in this world. So since this is a very stylized pack, as you can see, you would need something that has equally stylized characters for it to mesh well, right? So something like Synthi or Polygon packs or something like that, if you have any of those, might actually work well together with this to walk around in. And or you might have other characters that have this similar art style, and those together should probably give you a lot of mileage from this actually. Let's check out the overview so you can see all of the different things this pack consists of. So here we are inside of the overview map, and here you can see that we have these sort of modular parts of the houses which you can use to create, well, varied houses that you have some freedom of creating. And here you have a bunch of different already created houses of different variations and types. You can see that they are also grouped together in certain ways here by the green outlines like this. So you can see there's a bunch of different variations here. A lot of some of them are identical, of course, like these ones are all the same. They just have different colorations, and the same goes for most of the groupings when you go and look at them. But there's a lot of variation for the houses here regardless. For the boats, similarly, you have a bunch of small little things that you can detail and change up to make it look a little bit varied. But regardless from that, you still have a bunch of different boat variations for this as well. And over here we have a wide assortment of props. Let's go in a bit closer so you get a feel for it. So you have things like barrels and sacks and chandeliers and bathtubs, apparently, chests, rugs, furniture. You can see barricades and bookshelves and cabinets and ceramics, flags, cemetery stones, tombstones I believe they're called. Yeah, a bunch of different things here. And then we come to the vegetation parts, and you have some rocks, and you have some very funky looking and happy clouds over here. They look really nice. You also have a bunch of different weapons over here. Some of them pretty fancy and advanced as well in the art style that they are in. And some less ornate ones as well. and you also have a few mountains over here. So yeah, like I said, this is a pretty big pack actually. So if this is the theme that you want to go with, then this should be gold for you. Next up we have the Sikka Mansion. Now this is a pack filled with approximately 200 assets in a Victorian style. You're in a mansion and you have the ability to walk around and interact a little bit with your environment. How this is done is you have this environmental system. You can see that when we're moving around, our HUD disappears, and when we have stopped moving for a bit, the HUD comes back with some information about what we're able to do. So if we press the F key, for example, we can activate our flashlights. So we have a flashlight, so we can go around and rummage around in a creepy old mansion if we want to. Or we can walk up to different items, and if we can interact with them, they will appear with a white outline like so. And pressing tab, we can then pick them up, and pressing again, you can then inspect them and have them swivel around in the world. And you can also just drop it again somewhere in the world and have it fall down. So that's essentially what you have here. So you have a lot of assets fitting this Victorian style and this interaction system. So something akin to maybe a horror game, a detective game, an inspection game, an adventure game, something along the more narrative parts of gaming. I'm assuming this would be more tailored towards. So yeah, you have a lot of ambience when it comes to the lighting and also some of the effects as well. So you can see that all of the assets are looking very, very nice and they fit together really well. I'm not super fond of the UI here, but that's also something that you could easily just change up, of course, to have it fit how you want it to look. So yeah, that's the Victorian style asset. Lastly, we have the advanced photo mode, and this is actually also a pretty cool one. I think overall this month's pack have been pretty interesting in their different areas or niches, so to speak. In this case, I have taken a character and put it into the Viking low poly village, so you can see that they're sort of clashing in their styles here. The setup is fairly straightforward. You add a blueprint component to the character, which allows you to have some simple inputs making use of that component, which allows you to take pictures. So if we want to make a selfie over here, we can just activate that, and you can see that we get this sort of overlay showing us the different possibilities that are available to us. So we can change things like our depth of field, we can change a role on our character, or not the character, on the camera. We can do things like change the camera distance, we can change the resolution of the image that we're going to be taking. We have a lot of display settings, so the brightness, we can change the temperature, we can change the tint, we can have grids and hiding characters, things like that. We can have some filters if you wanted to be a Unreal Engine Instagram model or something like that. Bunch of different ones like that. You can change intensities, rendering, color grading, you can change saturations and gammas and all kinds of different values like that. You have depths of fields, you have screen effects like chromatic aberration if you feel like you're like wanting to feel like a drunk person or something, I don't know. And you have frames which can give you a sort of look depending on what you're kind of after visually. You can also have it so that it displays a logo like of your game or something else in front of the image if you wanted that as well. And then you have the hotkeys here of what you can do. So once you're done with and happy with your image, you can also move around the camera, of course. You can both orbit it with the mouse and move it around with your WASD, which you see down here. You just take the photo when you're done by pressing X. You can see that you get the photo saved over here and some information over here, and we're essentially done. Now we can open up a gallery where we can see the pictures that we have taken in the game as well, so since they're saved. So we can open up the gallery. You can see here the image that I took just here and an image I took a little bit earlier, and you can click on them and see what it looked like. And then you can also move between them with the E and Q key here as well, if you want to cycle through your different images in your albums, your gallery. So yeah, that's what you're getting in this asset, and I think it's a pretty neat asset, because a lot of people like to sort of save their adventures or their moments inside of games, and allowing that functionality is something that a lot of games can actually benefit from, especially those that are visually stunning. You can really capture moments and share with others. Other than that, there are of course other uses as well for something like this as well. You can have whole game systems around it if you wanted to. Anyway, that's going to be all for this month. I hope this was useful for you. Keep on learning. Take care. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you did not like it, leave a dislike. Leave any suggestions or comments you have down below. Subscribe and share this video if you want to see more like it in the future. That is all for now. Keep on learning. Take care.